gotta start the meeting. Testing, okay. mine's
Okay, great. All right, Carrie, confirming we're ready to start.
on.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Today is October 8th, 2025. The meeting is now open at 3:03 p.m. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. Now we'll do a roll call. Jonathan Davidson,
Present.
Donald Gifford,
Present.
Randy Bennett, Melissa Kimmerling, present. Diane Bruce. Attending is Jonathan Davidson, Donald Gifford, Melissa Kimmerling. Absent is Randy Bennett and Diane Bruce. Also attending, Carrie Plummer-Galecki, Assistant HR Director, and Board Secretary Jody Riddell, HR Director. All right, item 1 on the agenda for today is public comments. Carrie, do we have anyone wanting to speak during the open comments portion of the meeting?
No, we do not.
All right, we'll move on to item 2. Item 2 is to approve the minutes of the August 14th, 2025 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Gifford. We can vote.
I just messed up.
Should we make note that Diane Bruce
Yes, we'll add Diane Bruce.
joined the meeting at 3:04 p.m., so we have Diane Bruce present for the meeting as well. And we have a motion by Davidson to approve the August 14th, 2025 meeting, and a second by Gifford. So we'll vote now. Is that okay?
If 4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
I didn't see mine show up, Carrie, FYI.
Mine didn't show up.
Yeah. Mine didn't show up either.
I'll push it through again.
Okay.
Okay, try now.
Nothing.
Nothing. That's why we've always got tech support in the room. Tech support coming.
I got Jonathan and Diana showing absent.
Didn't show her.
Do I need to clear them? It showed up. They're all 5 are green.
Can you resend the vote?
Okay,
There we go.
There it is.
okay. Thank you. Four yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your help with that as well. So item 3, discuss and make recommendations to the personnel rules and regulations. Rule 6, general terms and conditions. Regulation 10, employee performance. Jody.
Madam Chair, Board. Okay, the first one we're going to look at is the employee performance. And we've only made a few updates to this one. The most important one to note is that we say that HR will work with department heads or elected officials to develop an appraisal system. We recognize that we have a wide variety of employees who do a lot of different jobs. And so this gives our department heads and elected officials some leeway in working with HR to create an appraisal system that works for them.
How is the employee notified of their unique appraisal system?
So the supervisor will give them the performance expectations and goals and review that at the beginning of the rating period.
Okay, thank you. Any board discussion?
No.
Okay. Jody, were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments? All right. Since no one came forward to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
And a second, okay. Motion by Gifford, second by Bruce. And we can vote. I'm not getting it again.
Are they showing up? They're not showing up.
Oh, there it is.
Let me hit send for votes again.
What had you pressed last time?
They just pop up. It didn't work, yeah.
I know, but I mean.
He said refresh. I just did that. It didn't work.
And then just
Always are.
hit.
If you want to proceed that way for the second.
Do we want to just go to a hand vote so we can keep it moving?
Sure. Okay.
Do you have?
I'll state it again, yeah, 1 second. So the motion was to recommend approval of the revisions to the personnel rules and regulations, Rule 6, General Terms and Conditions, Regulation 10, Employee Performance as presented. All right,
Go ahead and vote.
vote for aye. Raise your hand for aye.
All
Aye.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oops. 4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay. Let me see. Was that item 4? We're on item 5? Rule 12, is that correct, Jody? Is that where we are? Item 5 here? I lost my spot right there, Carrie. Are we on?
The classifications.
Okay, item 4, thank you. Item 4, to discuss and make recommendations to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 10, Classification System Regulation 1, Classification System Administration. Jody?
Yes, the first 2/3 of the policy remains the same. The one thing, and this was in the policy, but just to highlight, what this policy does is it lays out the process for requesting new full-time equivalents. It notes that it will go through the full-time equivalent committee and be in line with the budget process.
Jody, were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments?
No.
All right, no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Was that motion by Gifford, second by Bruce? To recommend approval of revisions of personnel rules and regulations, Rule 10, Classification System, Regulation 1, Classification System as presented. We can vote, and I see it this time.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay, now to item 5. Discuss and make recommendations to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 12, types of leave, personal leave. Jody?
This policy notes that for our non-union employees, upon hire, they'll be credited with 40 hours of paid personal leave. This ensures that new employees have the leave they need should they need to take care of medical situations or life outside of work.
And those are available day one of hire or after a
It'll be in
probation
a
period?
bank upon hire, yes.
Okay. Jody, were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments?
No.
No one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion by Gifford, second by Bruce, to recommend approval of revisions to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 12, types of leave, personal leave as presented. If no further discussion, please vote. No.
Okay, let's do a hand vote. All those in favor say yea.
Or aye.
Yay.
Say where you are.
Both.
4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay, item 6, discuss and make recommendations to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 12, types of leave, Regulation 4, catastrophic illness leave donation program. Jody?
This is the policy that lays out in the worst case scenario for our tenured employees, should they need to use the donated leave in the event of some catastrophic illness. The process for doing that, this policy also describes the process for tenured employees to donate to their teammates across the county. The changes in this one, even though it is still quite lengthy, was really to try and simplify it and make it easier for the employee to follow should they find themselves in this situation, and also make it a little easier for managers to help employees navigate if they're in this situation.
Great. Were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments?
No.
No one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule. Therefore, no comment period was provided. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay, motion by Davidson. Okay, Bruce, got. Okay, to recommend approval of the revisions to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 12, types of leave, Regulation 4, catastrophic illness leave donations program as presented. If no further discussion, we can vote. Not showing up again.
All those in favor say A.
Okay,
Aye. 4 yeas, 1 absent, motion carries.
okay. Moving to item 7, discuss and make recommendations to the Code of Ethics for county employees. Jody.
This is our standard code of ethics. This remains the same, but as we're level setting all of the policies, so we can say all the policy books are current as of 2025, I just wanted to present this one in front of you as well. It remains the same as the previous iterations.
Okay, correct, no changes there. Were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments here? All right, seeing that no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided, and knowing we have no changes, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Davidson, second by Gifford to recommend approval of the revisions to the Code of Ethics for county employees as presented. If no further discussion, we can vote.
Four yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay, moving right along. Item 8, discuss and make recommendations to the Sarpy County Travel and Business Expense Policy and Per Diem Request and Approval Form. Jody.
So this is a new policy. What this introduces is the per diem. So it'll use the federal per diem for meals and incidentals. So we had the link in here. Employees who are traveling will go to the GSA website, click on the link, and see what is an allowable expense for meals and incidentals. We note on the form minus meals provided. So if an employee is going to a training or to a conference, minus those meals provided. This also lays out the scenarios in which the P card should be used and the receipts that are required for it.
Great. And this is the P card process new? I wasn't clear about that.
No, the P card has existed.
P card is existing, so, okay.
This just clarifies when it shall and shall not be used and when receipts are required. It also
Okay,
gives the employee the option to get per diem in advance. We didn't want that to be a hindrance for any employee to miss a training or travel opportunity.
Sure. That's wonderful. Any discussion? Or Jody, were you contacted by anyone?
No.
Since no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, no comment period was provided. If no discussion, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Davidson, second by Gifford, to recommend approval of the revisions to Sarpy County Travel and Business Expense Policy and Per Diem Request and Approval Form as presented. We can vote. Not showing up again. It's
All
every
those
other
in
time.
favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 4 yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay, item 9, discuss and make recommendations to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 11, Compensation Plan, Regulation 1, Compensation Plan Administration. Jody.
This plan was updated last year. The key provisions of this, it notes that HR sets the starting salary. It also details the merit award program that the county initiated 2 years ago. It's in line with state statute, and there really was minimal changing outside of updating some language, which is a little it's difficult to follow.
So alignment with state statute, major
It is.
changes there.
You are correct.
Were you contacted by anyone to request to make comments here?
No.
All right, since no one requested to appear before the board and give their views on the proposed rule, therefore no comment period was provided. If no discussion, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Davidson and second by Gifford to recommend approval of revisions to personnel rules and regulations, Rule 11, Compensation Plan Regulation 1, Compensation Plan Administration as presented. If no further discussion, please vote.
Four yea, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, moving into item 10, we need a motion to start the grievance hearing.
I move that we proceed the grievance hearing.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Davidson, second by Gifford to move into the grievance hearing.
Okay.
Four yea, one absent, motion carries.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the Personnel Policy Board of Sarpy County is conducting a hearing on the grievance of Gabriel Pinahara. Am I saying it close? Thank you. Perfect. Council, will you please enter your name?
Courtney Fowler. Is it working?
Yes, I can hear you good.
Courtney Fowler.
And Ryan Kuhnhart and Claire Monroe on behalf of the county.
All right. The Personnel Policy Board Hearing Grievance Regulation 5 provides for a formal process for our hearings today unless the parties have agreed otherwise. I understand that the parties have agreed that the appellant will present their case first. Is that correct, Ms. Fowler?
That is correct.
Okay. And Mr. Kuhnhart, you're good with that?
Correct.
Okay. So, and I understand, Ms. Fuller, you have an opening statement. I want to kindly remind you that opening statements are limited to 5 minutes or less. And go ahead.
Thank you. This case is about the Sarpy County Department of Corrections firing a corrections sergeant without just cause, without following progressive discipline, and without acting consistently with how it has disciplined other employees for the same, similar, or more egregious behavior. The department terminated Mr. Pena Herrera for violating the department's sick leave policy and alleged dishonesty during the investigation. It is without question that the department may only terminate an employee for cause. The collective bargaining agreement states that the county and the director have the right to discharge employees for just cause, that no employee shall be disciplined without the element of just cause, and that disciplinary action by the director shall be imposed for just cause only. The Nebraska Supreme Court has been clear that just cause is cause that a reasonable employer acting in good faith would regard as good and sufficient reason for an employee as distinguished from arbitrary whim or caprice. The department's policy on discipline states that the department shall employ progressive discipline. That discipline shall be progressive in nature, and that suspension, demotion, or termination shall be used when other forms of discipline have failed. The Supreme Court has also held that progressive discipline should proceed gradually in stages or step by step. Here, the department did not have just cause to terminate Mr. Pena Herrera because it did not act reasonably or in good faith. It did not have progressive discipline. It did not follow progressive discipline, and it did not act consistently with how it has disciplined others for the same, similar, or more egregious behavior. Mr. Pena Herrera was not dishonest during the investigation. Mr. Pena Herrera simply did not recall certain information at the time of the interview. At the conclusion of the investigation, Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard recommended a 24-hour suspension, which ultimately got ignored when the director fired Mr. Pena Herrera. Mr. Pena Herrera has never had prior discipline for sick leave abuse. All his prior discipline was minor and involved entirely different alleged policy violations and behavior which he corrected after receiving discipline. In other words, he's receptive to correction and behavior did not recur. Other employees with substantiated sick leave abuse have been given substantially lower discipline than Mr. Pena Herrera. The key here is the department skipped 5 levels of discipline to land at termination. In its termination of Mr. Pena Herrera, the department inappropriately considered a conversation between the director, assistant director, and Mr. Pena Herrera, and a letter of counseling, which by the department's own policy are not considered discipline. Both should not have been considered when deciding how to discipline Mr. Pena Herrera. The department ignored mitigating evidence, including his tenure of good service. And according to the termination letter, the department terminated Mr. Pena Herrera for, quote, numerous and ongoing, unquote, policy violations, but did not specify what, if any, alleged violations are numerous and ongoing. This is a violation of Mr. Pena Herrera's due process and notice. The termination appears to come from a conflict between Mr. Pena Herrera and Director Joe Martin, not good faith. The termination is not reasonably related to the seriousness of any proven offense or Mr. Pena Herrera's record of service. Mr. Pena Herrera remains capable of correction, responding to discipline, and offering valuable service to the department. For these reasons, we would ask that you vacate Mr. Pena Herrera's termination and award him back pay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kuhnhart, would you like to do an opening statement?
Yes, briefly. Mr. Penarera was not simply terminated for a violation of the sick leave policy. The evidence is going to show you in the matter of 14 months, Mr. Penarera had received 2 last chance notices. He had received a letter of counseling, and he was also afforded a meeting with Director Martin and the assistant director to try to get him back on track. Despite all that, in May of 2025, Mr. Penarera violated and abused the sick leave policy and fraudulently used sick leave. Based on these continuing ongoing violations, Director Martin decided to terminate Mr. Penarera's employment with the county. The evidence will also show you that the county is not required to follow progressive discipline. And after you hear from the witnesses and the evidence, you will see that there was just cause for Mr. Penarera's termination, and we're asking you to uphold his termination. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fuller?
Yeah, I'm going to call Gabriel Pena Herrera.
Mr. Panera, if you want to come around to the witness spot.
Take your exhibit notebook.
That's pretty cool.
Sir, will you raise your right hand? Or excuse me, let's start with, please state your full name.
Gabriel Eric Pena Herrera.
Fantastic. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Fuller?
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Gabriel Eric Pena Herrera.
Thanks. Were you previously employed with the Sarpy County Department of Corrections?
Yes, I was.
How long were you employed there?
Little over 3 years.
So what would be your month and year start date?
May of 2022.
And what was your position?
I was a sergeant,
And what were your previous positions?
officer. That's it.
And when were you promoted to sergeant?
It was May of 23.
Where were you previously employed?
Douglas County.
And what was your position?
I was a corrections corporal
Was that your only position there?
and then corrections officer.
And how long were you employed there?
About 6.5 years.
So you worked there for 6.5 years and then came directly to Sarpy County Corrections.
Yes.
And all of that time period was corrections, right?
Yes, ma'am. And there's more.
I'm sorry.
And there's more.
Go ahead. What do you mean by that?
I was in the military for 12 years, and I was military police and corrections. So I also did corrections previous to Douglas County.
Okay. What kind of training did you have at the Department of Corrections with Sarpy County?
With Sarpy, such as
What kind of training for your position for corrections at Sarpy County?
I was part of a JTO program. Other than that, whatever is in their training, initial training, and then kind of like OJT or on-the-job training for supervisor.
What was the first acronym you used?
JTO.
And
That's, oh my goodness, it's been so long. It's a training officer.
Did the department terminate you earlier this year?
Yes, they did.
And when did they terminate you?
July 3rd.
I'm now going to walk through the timeline of events before your termination with you. Will you please flip to Exhibit 1? I'll let you review this document.
Yes.
Let me know when you're done.
Oh, I remember it.
How do you recognize this document?
This was my first and final written warning for not having the proper notification up the chain and proper approval for missed lunches for the officers.
Could you describe the facts that led to the wage and hour violation that's referenced in the first paragraph of number 2?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Could you just describe the facts that led to that violation?
Yes, it's in the policy. It states that we have to contact the on-call commander about missed lunches. I did not contact the on-call, but I allowed the officers to put in for their missed lunches because I felt that they were entitled to compensation due to the not taking their half-hour lunches per the policy in the contract.
And in the second paragraph under number 2, what is this referencing?
It was a comment I had made to another coworker about an inmate that had made a comment about her and how it appeared that she had some type of padding in her rear area. And so at the time, we were discussing the inmate, the officer and I had simply stated, do you remember that time?
And just to be clear, the inmate is the one that made the comment about padding in the rear area?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you also see in this paragraph where it says that the allegations against you regarding this behavior was unfounded?
I do.
Were you ever disciplined for that?
No, not to my knowledge.
So the only disciplined behavior in this document is for the missed lunches?
Yes.
Okay. After you received this discipline, did you correct that behavior?
I sure did.
And did it happen again?
No.
And is it for sick leave abuse?
No.
Unrelated, correct?
Correct.
Could you briefly describe the facts surrounding what we're here to talk about today, which is the sick leave abuse event? Could you please describe what happened?
So there was a time where my middle son, youngest son, I guess, his birthday is May 12th. And so in order to kind of mitigate issues with my ex-wife over the childcare, and I want to see my children as much as I can. May 18th, or May 17th, excuse me, was a Saturday in which I was planning on having my son. Because his birthday, you know, there's some issues with the times and stuff like that. So originally I was planning on having my son for that day, and I had planned a trip with my ex-girlfriend at the time for Texas. And so either way, it was just optics about this whole incident. Again, I understand the optics. It looks like I'm trying to abuse sick leave or something like that. I've been used by Lieutenant Nielsen in training as someone who never abused sick leave. I was ran over at the end of 2022, and I had to use all my benefits at the time in order to maintain a family, maintain afloat. And so I accumulated sick leave again, and I was often told that I was used as an example in training classes that this is one person who has never abused sick leave, even though they sustained substantial injuries. And so I guess just the day that I had called in, I had a headache. I had not slept. I used the plane, again, I used the plane as a way to recover. And it has all been misinterpreted and pointed out to me to make me a dishonest person that I'm not. Again, like I said, optics, understood. I get how it looks, but that is not me. Every time I have been asked in an investigation about something I had done, I am forthcoming with any information that is regarding it. I hope that helps.
Please flip to Exhibit 3. And take a moment to review it and let me know when you've reviewed it.
Yes.
Do you recognize this entire document?
Yes, I do.
And how do you?
How do I?
How do you recognize it?
Oh, this was given to me for pending termination.
Is this your, what we would call your Loudermill notice?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to go to page 2. And is this just the start of them notifying you of your pending termination?
Yes, and it, oh, is that, it's numbered differently, sorry. Is it page 104?
No, on the bottom right, there will be larger numbers.
The 2, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay. So flip to page 3. And do you agree that this is where they describe, they as in the department, describes why they're firing you
Yes.
and what your prior discipline was?
Yes, ma'am.
So we just discussed a little bit ago the March 2024 final written warning. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And that was for the missed lunches, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The third one down says February 14th, 2025, meeting with Assistant Director and Director of Corrections. What was the point of this meeting that's referenced here?
In all honesty, it was more of a demeaning meeting. At this point, there was nothing really positive to take out of that meeting. That is when Joe Martin, in front of the Assistant Director, Jake Burst, informed me that she will get rid of me in any way, and that I was given a golden opportunity and I have more than squandered it. And it was embarrassing.
So I want to clarify for the record, during this meeting, the director told you that she would get rid of you?
Yes, ma'am.
But was this meeting in itself discipline?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And who initiated this meeting?
Director Martin.
And who else was at the meeting?
Assistant Director Jake Burst.
So you never received discipline at that meeting?
Negative.
And you never received any notice before the meeting that you were being disciplined for anything?
No. I had already received that discipline, which was in January 27th for their other investigation.
So you're referencing item number 2 on the prior discipline, January 2025, final written warning, the second one. So I want to talk about that, and that'll be on page, just give me a second, page 8. What were you disciplined for here?
It states missed rounds and standards of conduct.
So let's start with the rounds. What happened? Why were you disciplined for missing rounds?
We get busy. It's a jail facility. Sometimes I miss rounds, sometimes I don't.
And after you received this discipline for missing rounds, did you correct this behavior?
Yes, I did.
Did it happen again?
Not to my knowledge.
And is it related to sick leave abuse?
Negative.
Now, the second part of this warning talks about behavior, conduct, standards of conduct. To your knowledge, what were you disciplined for under this part of it?
2 comments. That one comment I know I never had made, and another comment, take it easy on him.
So describe to me the first one. It's at the bottom of this page. It's quote, taking it easy. What happened with that? The officer at the time had sustained some serious heart issues. His girlfriend at the time, which is listed in here, Preister, had called in sick for him, saying that he was in the emergency room and had been taken there because of heart issues. And he had approached me previously and said that it was stress-related with everything ongoing. So later on, I had seen her in passing, and I said, hey, take it easy on him. That was it. And you never meant anything inappropriate about that, correct?
No, not at all.
On the next page, page 9, there's the quote I think you referenced a second ago. Women in pretty cardigans don't clean jail cells. What happened here?
There was an incident with an irate inmate that was in one of the admission cells and threatening officers, threatening any staff. And so Barge here at the time had gone into the cell with Clorox wipes and proceeded to clean the room as the inmate was demanding. She is not security staff. The inmate was obviously making threats to harm any individual. And again, she was not security staff. At this point in time, she had not received training to defend herself at this facility. I did not say women in pretty cardigans don't clean jail cells. I don't say that. I had told her to get out the cell because at the time it was a danger to herself and everybody else.
So just to be clear for the record, did you say what it says you said?
No.
I want to flip back to page 3, the list of prior discipline. So the one we haven't talked about is February 2025 letter of counseling. Could you explain what this is about?
Yes, there was an unfortunate use of force with an inmate, and I had initiated my body-worn camera during the takedown of said inmate. And this was discipline for me not activating it prior to.
Did you activate it during the incident?
Yes, I did.
So you were disciplined for not activating it soon enough?
Yes.
And so for that incident, you received a letter of counseling?
Yes, ma'am.
And that counseling was given to you in February, right?
Yes, of 25.
And is a letter of counseling the lowest level of corrective action an employee can receive?
I believe a verbal counseling and then letter, yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is a letter of counseling discipline?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So after you received this letter of counseling, did you correct this behavior?
Oh, yes.
Did it happen again?
Negative.
And is it related to sick leave abuse?
No.
Please flip to the next page, page 4. Do you see in the second paragraph where this notification letter is talking about dishonesty.
Yes, I do.
Could you explain why you were accused of being dishonest?
Because I did not recall if I had seen an email from Lieutenant Nielsen.
From Lieutenant.
Nielsen.
Give a little more context on that.
It states here that I reported that I did not know who, if anyone, had worked the overtime. However, on May 19th, Lieutenant Nielsen emailed all the C shift sergeants, including Sergeant Pereira, seeking clarification on why Sergeant Estevez had worked overtime on the night on May 17th. Sergeant Pereira had a duty, especially as supervisor, to provide truthful and complete information during the investigation.
So you were interviewed as part of the sick leave abuse investigation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And who interviewed you?
Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard.
And during that interview, did he ask you if someone had covered or if someone had used overtime to cover for you on the day that you used sick leave?
I do not recall.
Do you remember what he asked you?
If I had seen an email or he said that you received an email from Lieutenant Nielsen, and that states it was a question in the email, and I told him that I did not recall seeing it. I believe the transcripts are in here as well, though.
Let's flip to Exhibit 11, which is the transcript of that interview. Give me just a second, I'm finding where it's at.
Should be page 18.
Yep, so page 18, top. What does Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard ask you?
That if I knew if anyone had worked overtime to cover your shift on Saturday.
And what did you say?
No.
And then he clarifies with you, are you saying no? Or do you know? And then what did you say?
I don't know if anyone had worked.
Okay, so you said, I don't know. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to flip back to Exhibit 3. Sorry. So back to the dishonesty, Exhibit 3, page 4. So because you said, I don't know, what's the reference to Lieutenant Nielsen's email?
That I was dishonest and I didn't provide a truthful and complete information about it.
And what did Lieutenant Nielsen's email say?
I still don't recall.
Was it regarding overtime?
I would assume so, yes.
And did she send that out a couple days after somebody had to use overtime to cover you on the day you used sick leave?
I believe so.
And why didn't you remember that email?
I could have missed it in the slew of emails that we received.
So when you told Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard in your interview that you didn't remember or you didn't know if someone used overtime to cover you, why did you say, I don't know?
Because I did not know.
Not that you were saying nobody did, correct?
Correct.
And it was because you didn't recall seeing Lieutenant Nielsen's email?
Yes, ma'am.
It was not because you were lying?
No.
It's not because you were being deceptive?
No. Like I said, I am honest in every single one of my interviews. That is what we're held to as a standard.
During your interview with Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard, did he present you with that email from Lieutenant Nielsen?
No.
So he asked you if you knew anything about someone using overtime, but never presented you with that email.
Correct.
Did he give you an opportunity to refresh your memory about whether somebody used overtime?
No.
Is the information regarding who had to work that day when you used sick leave easily accessible to the department?
Yes, it is.
So what benefit would it have been to you to lie that you didn't know?
There would have been no benefit.
So on this same page, page 4, the fourth paragraph down, it talks about an informant notifying Sarpy County that they were on the same flight as you. Do you see this?
Yes, I do.
And that your demeanor was, quote, normal and talkative, unquote. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you know who the informant is?
Yes, I do.
And does this person know you very well?
No.
Would they know what your demeanor would normally be?
It could have been back in when I worked at a previous facility 3 years prior to, but not at the time, no.
And why do you say that it might have been at a previous facility? What do you mean by that?
Because I was well known at Douglas County, and she was a shift sergeant / lieutenant at the time.
So you're saying the informant knew you previously?
Yes.
How well?
Fairly well in passing, maybe?
Were they watching you the entire flight?
I don't know. I was sleeping.
Okay.
On and off with the turbulence. The lady next to me grabbed my arm.
Let's flip to Exhibit 8, please. Review this document and let me know once you've done so.
Yes.
How do you recognize this document
This is the finding report from Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard.
regarding the sick leave?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's flip to page 3. And in the first paragraph on page 3, he references that you stated you understood the optics of calling in sick on this date. What do you mean by this?
With how it looks, with calling in sick, being on a flight. Again, I understand the optics of that. However, I used the flight to catch up on sleep.
Have you ever abused sick leave in the past?
No.
Flipping to the next page, on page 4, towards the bottom, he quotes you saying, about 6 lines up, that it wasn't a pattern. What did you mean by this?
Again, I've never abused sick leave previously. And that, in my opinion, in one of the policies, it states that they will be investigated if there's a pattern.
The next page, page 5, At the bottom of the top paragraph, Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard says, I told him that I was not aware of any previous abuse of time off by Sergeant Penner Herrera. What did he say to you exactly?
Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
Very bottom of the top paragraph.
Oh, yes. I had asked him if there was, or excuse me, Sergeant Farmer asked if there was a pattern of myself displaying any abuse of any time, and he responded no.
Okay, I'd like to flip to page 6. In the very last paragraph, what does it say that Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard, who investigated this, what does it say that he recommended?
A 24-hour suspension is the appropriate level of disciplinary action.
And is that what you received?
No.
And you were terminated instead?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also see at the very end of this page where Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard states that you do not have a history of abusing sick leave?
Correct.
Let's go to page 9. And this page 9 is a part of the assistant director's memo that he writes after Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard writes his findings report. At the top of page 9, the assistant director references a conversation. Do you know what conversation he's referring to?
Yes, I do.
Which conversation is it?
The one that I received when I was finally allowed back at work.
When I was,
Finally allowed back at work.
And when you say finally allowed back at work, which discipline are you referencing?
The January 27th.
So the second final written warning.
Correct.
And when did you come back?
February 14th.
And when was this conversation?
February 14th.
Okay. And is that the conversation where you stated Director Martin told you she would get rid of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go to Exhibit 9, please. And let me know when you've reviewed.
Yes.
What is this document?
This is a line investigation notification.
And what does that mean?
It's just notifying me that I am currently being investigated for a possible violation of SOP 4301 sick leave.
Please flip to page 3. What is page 3?
Page 3 is my report.
And why did you write this?
As soon as I received the line investigation notification, I wrote a report stating the facts from the incident.
So this just lays out the facts related to the alleged sick leave abuse incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's go to Exhibit 2, please. And when you get there, what is this document?
This is the document that was notifying me of my termination after the Loudermill.
And when you say Loudermill, remind us all what a Loudermill is, please.
Pre-disciplinary hearing.
Okay. So after the Loudermill hearing, where you were able to present your side of the story, you received this termination letter, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see in the first paragraph at the end where it says, "We are terminating your employment for numerous and ongoing SOP violations"?
Yes.
What does that mean?
In my opinion, something that they had never investigated for future, or because I was never notified of any policy violations that I had committed after the termination.
So you're only aware of the sick leave abuse?
Yes.
You're not aware of numerous and ongoing violations?
No.
Were you ever given a pre-termination notice referencing numerous and ongoing SOP violations?
I believe so.
Let me rephrase. Were you ever given a Loudermill notice referencing numerous and ongoing SOP violations?
No.
Did you ever have a Loudermill hearing related to numerous and ongoing SOP violations?
No.
Were you ever given a chance to respond to that?
No.
So the first you heard of numerous and ongoing violations was in this termination letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you ever told what that meant?
No.
Let's flip to Exhibit 1. Or sorry, Exhibit I. That's my fault. What is this document?
My appeal form.
And when you say appeal form, describe for us what you mean by that.
I had been terminated and I was filing an appeal to overturn the termination.
To have a hearing in front of this board?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you file this appeal timely?
Yes, I did.
And did you submit this form to the correct person?
Yes.
Were you ever given any performance evaluations during your employment?
Not a single time.
Were you supposed to receive performance evaluations?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you not receive any?
There's, to my knowledge, no one has received one since I have been at the facility.
And if you were to receive a performance evaluation, what would you suspect it would show?
My performance. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen one done here, so.
Would you predict that it would say you perform your job duties?
Yes,
Did you perform your job duties?
I sure did.
Were you ever demoted?
No.
So you were promoted to sergeant and you were never demoted down?
No.
You were just terminated.
Yes.
No further questions at this time?
Mr. Kuhnhart, any questions for this witness?
Yes. No. Going to try to go chronologically, okay?
Yes, sir.
So let's take a look. Well, I guess first question, you looked at Exhibit 2.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Give me a moment.
We'll try that. Okay. Okay, so Exhibit 2 is your termination notice, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your counsel asked you, in this it says, we're terminating your employment for numerous and ongoing SOP violations. And I believe you said you had never heard of the numerous and ongoing SOP violations, is that correct?
Correct. At the time, I had not.
Okay. And this letter, meaning Exhibit 2, is dated July 3rd of 2025, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you received this letter from Director Martin?
Yes.
I'd offer Exhibit 2.
Received.
Let's look at Exhibit 3. Exhibit 3 is your Loudermill notice, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if you go to the second page, this was emailed to you on June 26th of 2025, correct?
Yes, sir.
So roughly a week before your employment was terminated, correct?
Correct.
And if you go right at the top, under where it says notification via the following, it says the purpose of this correspondence is to notify you of pending disciplinary action and your right to a Loudermill hearing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then if we go to page 6, you walked through this with your counsel. This is the discipline form from March 29th of 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in paragraph 2, or number 2, first paragraph, it states, this is a violation of the department's wage and hour rules as well as applicable collective bargaining agreements, correct?
Yes.
And you were notified in this, I'm in the last paragraph of that section 2, that you're required to adhere to departmental procedures and exhibiting unprofessional and disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated as a leader, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Director Martin signed this on March 29th of 2024. Do you see that on page 7?
I sure do.
And this was a last chance agreement, correct?
What is the last
Or
chance
not
agreement?
last chance agreement, I guess a final written warning, I should have called it. Is that correct?
It appears so. Yes, sir.
Did you say it appears so?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then if we go to page 8, this is the discipline form from January 27th of 2025, correct?
Yes, sir. My second final written warning.
And on page 8, under section 2, do you see the first paragraph that starts after a formal complaint?
Yes.
And then at the bottom of that paragraph, it says, when looking at C unit, the following violations of SOP 8040 were found. And there's 6 noted violations, correct?
Yes.
Then you go to the next paragraph. Right underneath that, it states, you are receiving this final written warning partially as a result of the numerous violations of SOP 8040, correct?
Yes. What are those numerous violations? Just those 6?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So then if you go to the next paragraph, it states, through this investigation, you were found to violate SOP 7040 standards of conduct. Do you see that?
I sure do.
Then if you go to the next page, the first full paragraph, it states you're receiving this final written warning in part for your violations of SOP 7040, correct?
Yes.
Then section 3 states that you are required to adhere to all department procedures, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then it states further violations of SOPs related to professionalism, conduct unbecoming of an officer, and safety and security may result in further disciplinary action up to and including termination, correct?
Yes, sir.
So then after you got this Loudermill notice, you had a Loudermill hearing, correct?
Which one?
Exhibit 3. After you received Exhibit 3, you had a Loudermill hearing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were present for that.
I was.
You had counsel present.
Yep.
So you were made aware of all these multiple SOP violations that I just walked through prior to your Loudermill hearing, correct?
Yes.
So that's not true that you had never heard of these numerous ongoing violations when you received Exhibit 2, is it?
Yes, it is because of the numerous ongoing. If I was terminated on July 3rd, what is ongoing?
Well, let's go back to Exhibit 3. You received and I'm on page 3. You received a final written warning on March 29th of 2024, correct?
Yes, sir.
What does final mean to you?
Final.
Yeah.
But I don't see that in the disciplinary action letters, I believe.
Well, I asked, what does final mean to you?
Yeah, it means final. To me.
Okay.
So
And
I got a second one?
And I'm talking about the first one still.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me.
And you thought Director Martin had it out for you, didn't you?
Yes.
But she gave you you came back to work after that March 29th, 2024 final written warning, correct?
Yes.
Then you got a second final written warning in January 27th of 2025, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Director Martin signed that we just looked at, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you came back to work after that, correct?
Quite some time after, yes.
And then you had the meeting on February 14th of 2025. But then 2 weeks after that, you received a letter of counseling on February 28th of 2025 for failing to activate a body camera, correct?
Yes, sir. Question on that. Where was that? The body camera incident. Can you tell me what date that occurred?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Can you tell me what date that occurred with the body camera incident?
Well, I'm looking at Exhibit 3. It states on February 19th, 2025, a findings report was submitted by Lieutenant Vanden Boogard in response to a line investigation with an incident date of September 19th of 2024.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Why was that not? Well, it seemed like I'd received discipline after this this investigation where it had said I violated multiple policies, the 70-40 and the 80-40.
And as part of this letter of counseling, it stated that you violated SOP 8060, correct?
Yes, it does.
And is it your position that this letter of counseling is not discipline?
According to the policies, it states that it is.
Okay, let's look at Exhibit E.
Sorry, which exhibit?
E. Are you at Exhibit E?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recognize Exhibit E?
Yes, I do.
I'd offer Exhibit E.
Received.
Let's flip to the second page of Exhibit E. It says levels of disciplinary action. Do you see that?
Yes.
And counseling is a level of disciplinary action, correct?
Yes. Is it a letter, verbal, written? Doesn't specify.
It says counseling though, right?
Yes, sir.
And what we just looked at said letter of counseling, correct?
Yes.
And then after that, you were disciplined for violation. I'm back on Exhibit 3. So then after that, you were disciplined for violating the sick leave policy, correct?
Yes.
So in regards to the sick leave policy, where does I don't want an address. Does your son live in the Omaha area?
Yes, he does.
Were you going to Texas on May 17th, or were you going to stay with your son?
I was originally going to stay with my son.
We looked at Exhibit 9, if you would flip to that. And specifically, you recognize Exhibit 9, correct?
Yes.
I'd offer Exhibit 9.
Received.
Page 3 of Exhibit 9, that was your statement to, not sure who it was to, but that was your statement as part of this line investigation into the sick leave abuse, correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't mention your son, staying with your son anywhere in your statement in this line investigation, do you?
No, because I was responding to the initial complaint.
Which was abuse of sick leave.
Correct.
But I thought you were potentially taking sick leave to stay with your son.
No, I was telling you that I had planned to stay with my son on the weekend because it was his birthday previously.
Okay, let's talk about
Did not say I was planning sick leave.
Let's talk about this May 17th incident. So you called in sick on the 17th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were actually on a plane going to Dallas, Texas for a conference?
Sure.
When did you book your flight to Dallas, Texas?
It was about a week and a half prior when plans had changed with my son.
What was that? I just couldn't hear you.
When plans had changed with my son.
So then your plans changed with your son a week and a half before the 17th, and you booked this flight to Dallas, correct?
Not a week and a half prior, but things had changed, yes, with my ex-wife.
So when did you book the flight to Dallas?
About a week and a half prior to the flight.
And prior to booking the flight for May 17th, did you submit any kind of leave request?
Nope.
So no PTO or vacation request?
Nope.
And you had already requested time off for May 18th, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was approved?
Yes, sir.
How many sergeants are allowed to be or have pre-approved time off per shift?
Just one.
And you were aware that Sergeant, is it Pedersen, already had leave scheduled for May 17th?
Yes, sir.
And with Sergeant Pedersen having approved time off on the 17th, you would not have been able to get any PTO or vacation approved based on that, correct?
Correct. At the time, the flight was the cheapest to purchase from the 17th to Tuesday, and I was planning on changing it to the 18th up until the night previously because of the price changes that happened overnight.
But you didn't.
Correct.
And you didn't show up to work on the 17th.
Correct. Due to a headache and a migraine and lack of sleep.
And you submitted for being off on the 18th on approximately May 8th, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So you submitted for the 18th off, and you booked your flight for the 17th right around the same time.
Okay. Yes, I did.
And you're a sergeant, you're in a leadership position, correct?
Yes, I am.
Are you aware of any other employee that had received 2 last or final written warnings, had a meeting with the assistant director, received a letter of counseling, and violated the sick leave policy in the span of 14 months?
No, I was not I was not aware of anybody else on her list of targets. No.
Well, that wasn't my question. Were you aware of anyone else who had received that much discipline, and I can walk through it again, in the matter of 14 months?
No, I'll answer your question.
What?
I will answer your question.
What's your answer?
I just said no.
Let's take a look at Exhibit 10. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
And is this the county sick leave policy?
Yes.
I'd offer Exhibit 10.
Received.
Take a look at, I'm on the first page, Roman 2, where it says procedure, Section B, general use. It states, sick leave is not an extension of other paid time off. Do you see that?
I do.
And again, you had applied to be off on the May 18th on May 8th, and then you used sick leave on the 17th, correct?
Yes.
And it goes on to say that falsely claiming entitlement to sick leave as a basis for an unscheduled absence is fraudulent behavior and shall result in discipline, correct?
Yes, I do. Can you read on further? It could be denied when
No,
facts.
I'm not going to read on further. Let's look at Exhibit 11. This was your interview with Sergeant Vanden Boogard, correct?
Yes.
I'd offer Exhibit 11.
Received.
Flip to Exhibit 8, please. This was the findings report that Lieutenant Boogard, or sorry, Vanden Boogard completed, correct?
It appears so.
And then if you flip to page 7, well, I should say on page 6, Lieutenant Vanden Boogard, his report ends, correct?
Yes.
And then on page 7 of Exhibit 8, we see a different report, and it says on page 7, from the desk of Jake Burst, Assistant Director, correct?
Correct.
Do you know the difference in the scope of review from Lieutenant Van Boogard's review versus Assistant Director's Burst? Do you know the difference on what they look at?
I'm not an assistant director, so no.
Okay. And continuing with Exhibit 8, if you go to page 9, Director Burst on the last paragraph,
Assistant Director.
Assistant Director, he states he suggests termination in this situation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No further questions at this time.
Ms. Fowler?
Yes, and really quick before I ask some questions, I want to clean something up real quick. I apologize in these hearings. I'm so used to offering jointly all the exhibits at the beginning, so I didn't offer any of mine. Can I do that real quick? The ones I used?
Yep.
Okay. So I believe the ones that Mr. Kuhnhart has not offered that I used would be number 1, number 3, number 8, number 2, and he offered 11. So at this time, I would offer all of those.
Mr. Kuhnhart offered 2 already.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So it'd be, yeah,
exhibits 1, 3, 8, and I.
1, 3, 8. Yes, that's correct.
Received.
Thank you. I apologize.
I believe you also 11.
11's already been received.
Okay,
by
thank you.
Mr. Kuhnhart. Yep.
Thank you. Mr. Pena Herrera, Mr. Kuhnhart was asking you some questions about the language numerous and ongoing. When you said earlier to one of my questions that you didn't know what that meant, you've never heard of that, were you talking about numerous and ongoing from the time of your termination letter?
Yes.
So you meant you didn't know of anything that was at the time of your termination letter on July 3rd ongoing?
Correct. I would state that the wording would be previous if it was previously disciplined for.
Okay. Were you ever put on admin leave during all of this?
Quite a bit.
And how long were you on admin leave?
Collectively, 6 months.
For all of these investigations?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you came back from admin leave, was it in February?
February 14th.
Okay, so you came back from admin leave in February after you received the January warning.
Correct. About 2.5 weeks after.
And when you came back, is that when you had that conversation with the director and assistant director?
Yes, ma'am.
And is a conversation with the director and assistant director discipline?
No.
Was it ever framed as discipline?
No.
Was it simply just a conversation?
Yes.
And who initiated that?
Director Martin.
You were asked some questions about counseling and whether counseling is discipline. Will you please flip to Exhibit C? What is this exhibit when you're there?
Personal rules and regulations.
Are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
How so?
We sign off on reviews. We did consistently.
Will you please flip to page 95?
Oof. I am there.
And what rule and regulation is this up at the top?
Progressive discipline, Rule 7.
And what does it say under Section 2 next to corrective action?
The non-disciplinary?
Yes.
Department heads have primary responsibility for determining the adequacy of their employees' performance and conduct, as well as for initiating corrective action when necessary. If corrective action can be accomplished through verbal coaching, closer supervision, counseling, or on-the-job training, formal disciplinary action may not be necessary.
So is counseling non-disciplinary?
According to this, yes.
And is it just a corrective action
Yes.
to allow the employee to correct their action?
Yes, and which I have done after receiving discipline I've done on my own, as there was no coaching or closer supervision or anything.
So putting aside the conversation that you had with the director and assistant director in February and the counseling that you also received in February, what was actually on your prior disciplinary record?
I'm sorry, my mind just blanked.
What prior discipline did you have aside from your termination?
The 2 final written warnings.
So total on your record, you had 2 final written warnings
Yes,
because a counseling and a conversation are not discipline, correct? So the counseling you received in February was related to what?
an incident that happened in September of last year.
So why from September when the incident occurred all the way until February did nothing happen related to that incident?
I could not tell you.
So you heard nothing until you received a counseling log in February of 2025 regarding an incident that happened in September of 2024.
Correct, when I returned back to work.
And the conversation you had with the director and the assistant director, where the director told you she was going to get rid of you, was that conversation before or after you got this counseling?
Prior to.
So the conversation happened, and then you all of a sudden get a counseling log for something that happened in September.
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, I will offer Exhibit C.
Received.
No further questions?
No further questions.
Mr. Pananera, you may step down.
Thank you very much for your time.
Ms. Fuller, do you have any additional witnesses?
No, thank you.
Mr. Kuhnhart?
Call Lieutenant Julie Nielsen.
Ms. Nelson, will you please state your full name?
Julie K. Nielsen.
And what is your position with the county?
I am the operations administrator for Sarpy County Jail.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. We just got your name and your position. What are your duties as the operations administrator?
I oversee the daily operations of the jail, including timekeeping, assigning officers to shifts, temporary limited duty, injuries on duty, investigations when necessary.
And are you familiar with Mr. Panarera?
I am.
And were you involved in any of the prior discipline that has been discussed today?
I was.
And you were here when Mr. Panarera testified, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a look just real quick at Exhibit 3. If you go to page 3 of Exhibit 3, there's the prior discipline. There's a March 29th, 2024 final written warning. Did you investigate that matter?
I did.
And let's turn to Exhibit 13. Is Exhibit 13 a copy of your investigation from that March 2024 incident?
It is.
I'd offer Exhibit 13.
Received.
And just, we don't need to go through all this, but just generally, what was the investigation for?
A formal complaint was filed against Sergeant Pena Herrera for 3 different incidents. One being sending an officer to the hospital to guard an inmate that hadn't been trained. A second of the not contacting the on-call commander to get approval to pay out lunches. And then a sexual harassment comment that was made.
And if you go to page 7 of Exhibit 13, you made a recommendation that Sergeant Panarera receive a final chance Is that correct?
Yes.
And then flipping back to Exhibit 3, he received a final written warning, correct?
Yes.
And then let's look at Exhibit 12.
Okay.
Do you recognize Exhibit 12?
I do. It's my findings report.
From which incident?
The November 2024 IA that I conducted.
Okay. And again, generally, what did that involve?
This was a formal complaint that was filed against Sergeant Pena Herrera with claims of favoritism, unprofessionalism, and then some different comments that were made towards staff.
I would offer Exhibit 12.
Received.
And if you go to page 37 of Exhibit 12, you made a recommendation to terminate Mr. Penarera's employment, is that correct?
I did.
And was that recommendation followed?
No.
Let's briefly talk about, you heard testimony about a sick leave incident in May of 2025, correct?
Yes,
Did you uncover the sick leave issue?
I did.
Can you walk the board through how you uncovered that issue?
So every day when I come to work, our timekeeping program that we use is called OSL. So when I reference OSL, that's what it is. In that OSL, it has all officers and sergeants, everybody's schedules are in OSL. If they have approved time off, that is in their employee planner, which I'm able to log into OSL, look at. And if somebody submits sick time, overtime, all timekeeping is made through OSL. I was going through OSL transactions on that Monday morning, I believe it was, and I noticed that there was overtime on Saturday night. I believe it was the 17th. And I checked Sergeant Pedersen's OSL planner, which was the other sergeant scheduled to work on C shift. It showed that he should have been there. Checked Sergeant Farmer's planner. His also showed that he should have been there. And then Sergeant Pena Herrera's showed that he should have been there. So from everything that I checked, I could not find a reason why they would have had overtime. That is when I sent the email to the C shift sergeants and asked why overtime was needed for that Saturday night. Sergeant Farmer responded and advised that Sergeant Pedersen had already approved time off that day, and then Sergeant Pena Herrera called in sick. While I was conducting, we'll say, my investigation to look for why there was a need for overtime, there's a system we use called AlertSense Connexus to send out overtime alerts. There was not an overtime alert sent out for a sergeant for that Saturday night. So there was no record of them needing overtime for that shift. So it wasn't until Sergeant Farmer responded back stating that Sergeant Pedersen had approved time off, Sergeant Pena Herrera called in sick, that it explained why there needed to be overtime. After talking to Sergeant Pedersen, it was on their leave calendar that he was planning not to be there, but the time had not been entered and approved into OSL.
And what did you do once, or did you alert anyone of this issue?
Yes, I had alerted the assistant director and director.
And can you just give names?
Oh, yes, sorry. Assistant Director Burst and then Director Merton.
Okay. No further questions.
Ms. Fuller?
Yes, thank you. There was reference to, in Exhibit 13, what we would call a final chance. Do you recall those questions?
Yes.
What is a final chance?
The final chance warning is literally what it states. It's a last and final warning that lists the specific, I guess, details of the last chance offer that he or an individual is being given. Like, I guess, rules, policy that they need to follow going forward.
Where is this allowed? Where is this type of discipline allowed?
Above me. All I do is make a recommendation.
But I mean, where is the authority for the department to impose what we would call a final chance?
It's above me. I don't make that decision.
Does the contract allow for the department to use a final chance as discipline?
Yes, within the county, yes.
Where in the contract does it say that?
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and flip to Exhibit 5. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
What is it?
It's this is the new collective bargaining agreement for 2025 to 2027.
And would this contract have been applicable to the termination that occurred on July 3rd, since this contract starts July 1?
I would have to double check when it was actually signed. I don't believe this one was signed until the second week, July 13th-ish. I would have to verify that.
Okay.
So no, off the top of my head.
Okay, let's go to Exhibit 6 then. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the previous year bargaining agreement.
So the applicable contract to the termination?
Correct.
Let's go ahead and go to page 14. Do you see at the top where it says disciplinary action by the director shall be imposed for just cause only? Disciplinary action may include any of the following: counseling, admonishment, reprimand, suspension, demotion, termination.
Yes.
Where in there does it say final chance?
It doesn't have it there.
So it's not allowed.
No, that's not necessarily the point, because they have to follow the FOP, their contract, but they also have the personnel policy rules and regulations through the county that they have to follow.
So let's flip to that, Exhibit C.
Okay.
Page 95. I apologize, at this time I offer 5 and 6. It was the 2 contracts we just went over.
Received.
Thank you. So on page 95 of C, do you see at the bottom where it says reprimand? And then if we go to the next page, we've got suspension, demotion, and dismissal.
Yes.
Where in there does it say final chance?
Without taking the time to fully review this, I don't see it off the top, just skimming this.
So again, where is final chance authorized as a form of discipline?
It's not in here.
There's also been some reference to what the department calls final written warnings. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The same thing as the final chance.
Oh, it's the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. In either of the documents we've just gone over, the contract or the rules and regulations that we're on right now, where in each of these documents does it authorize a final written warning?
It doesn't. I don't see it.
Okay. No further questions?
Briefly, I just want to make sure this is clear. You make a recommendation for discipline, but you don't impose the discipline, correct?
That is correct.
Who imposes the discipline?
The assistant director reviews it, and then the director.
Okay. That's why you kept saying above me?
Yeah, above me.
Okay.
I do the investigation, fact finder, write my report, my recommendation of what I believe the discipline should be, and then I send it up the chain.
Okay. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. You may step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Kuhnhart, your next witness.
Yes, Jake Burst.
Mr. Burst, will you please state your full name?
Jake Burst,
And what is your position with the county?
Assistant Director, Sarpy County Corrections.
I'm sorry.
Assistant Director, Sarpy County Corrections.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I just have 1 minute, please? to confirm?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Go ahead.
Did he state his name and title?
He did.
Okay, perfect. Assistant Director Burst, what position did you hold prior to becoming the Assistant Director?
Prior to this, I was the director of Sarpy County's Community Corrections Office for 5 years.
And when did you become the Assistant Director?
Officially, it was in June of 2020, but interim December 2019.
Okay. Let's look at Exhibit 8. And you were present for Sergeant Pinera's testimony, correct?
I was, yes.
Okay. And if you go to page 7, this starts, so page 7 of Exhibit 8, this starts your report, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Can you walk us through the process of what you did to come up with this report we see on page 7 of Exhibit 8?
Sure. So I received the findings report from Lieutenant Vanden Boogard that recommended a 24-hour suspension. The lieutenant's report only focuses on that event, that policy violation. So once it rose to my level of review, I looked through Sergeant Pena Herrera's personnel file, history, discipline, and I looked at his previous discipline and found the 2 final written warnings, which have been already referenced. And to me, a final warning is just that, a final warning. And we had 2 final written warnings, both of which say that he's responsible for knowing and adhering to SOPs. So that, coupled with the misuse of sick leave, which in reviewing the findings report seemed like a premeditated violation of policy, I felt like a 24-hour suspension was not sufficient and recommended termination.
So did you have access, or did you review more documents in preparing your memo in Exhibit 8 compared to Lieutenant Van's in Exhibit 8?
Yes, that is correct.
And why is that?
Once it reaches my level, the assistant director level, we are then essentially allowed to review the whole personnel file, all history, discipline when making a decision.
And then once you prepared this memo in Exhibit 8, what did you do with it?
So this memo gets uploaded to our software that we use for employee tracking called Guardian, and then once it was assigned, once it was uploaded, it was assigned to Director Martin for review.
Okay. And you were not involved in the final discipline that led to the termination?
No, I make a recommendation.
Okay. And you were present. There's been discussion we saw in the Loudermill notice about a meeting with Sergeant Pereira in February of 2025. Were you present at that meeting?
I was, yes.
What is your recollection of what was said during that meeting?
So it was what I would describe as a shape-up meeting when he came back. Director Martin had communicated to Sergeant Pereira that, that there had been a lot of resources used as a result of his behavior, that, that there were a lot of people frustrated as a result. And basically said, if that you need to follow policy and procedure moving forward. And she did not say that she was out to get him, as what I've heard testify today. But what I recall is that if you don't self-correct your behavior, you're going to find yourself in this position again.
No further questions?
Ms. Fuller?
Thank you. So I'm going to stick on Exhibit 8 where we're at.
Okay.
So your page 7, this is your part of this document, correct?
Yes.
And so this is your memo that you write after Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard wrote his.
Correct. If I disagree with his recommendation, then I submit a memo. Correct.
And so you saw that he recommended 24-hour suspension, right?
Yes, I saw that.
And you ignore that, right?
I didn't agree with it, no.
And instead you went to termination, is that correct?
That is correct.
And when you said that you reviewed Mr. Pereira's prior disciplinary record, is that right?
Yes.
And you saw that he had two final written warnings in his file, correct?
Yes, correct.
Where in policy or contract is the department allowed to use what it calls a final written warning?
I would reiterate what was said in the last testimony. I don't know that it's in the contract, ma'am.
So you see, when you're reviewing his file, you see these two final written warnings. Are you familiar with progressive discipline?
Yeah, I am.
But instead, you skipped 5 levels of discipline to go to termination for your recommendation, correct?
My recommendation was termination, yes.
Did you consider, when you made your recommendation, did you consider mitigating factors that were presented?
Can you elaborate?
In the Loudermill hearing, when Mr. Pereira and his counsel presented mitigating factors, did you consider that?
Objection, just foundation.
I don't know that we've got any information about what the council presented at the Loudermill hearing, so that makes it difficult for us.
Yeah.
Do you want to expound on that? Or before
when you reviewed Mr. Pereira's file, did you review all documentation as part of the investigation?
I reviewed all the disciplinary paperwork that was in his file. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you review the transcript from his Loudermill hearing?
From this most recent Loudermill hearing?
Yes.
Yes, I would have, yeah.
Did you, go ahead.
Are you saying prior to, can you repeat the question? I apologize.
Yeah, prior to you writing your memo where you recommend termination rather than 24-hour suspension, did you review, as part of that, the Loudermill hearing transcript?
The Loudermill hearing for what we're here for today didn't happen until after I submitted the memo.
Okay. Let's flip to page 9 on this same exhibit. Do you see at the top of this page where in your memo you reference a conversation?
Yes, I see it.
And is this the conversation between yourself, the director, and Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Are you aware that this conversation wasn't discipline?
Yes, I'm aware.
Was that considered in your recommendation?
It was, it was considered due to that it was a reiteration that during that conversation that he needed to follow departmental policies and procedures, yes.
So if it was considered that that is not discipline, why is it referenced as part of your decision in this memo?
It was referenced because I was trying to show a pattern in which between the two final written warnings, this conversation, that there were multiple opportunities or multiple instances in which it was communicated to Sergeant Pena Herrera that departmental policies and procedures needed to be followed, and then they were not.
In the second paragraph where you reference the letter of counseling, do you see where I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Are you also aware that a letter of counseling is not discipline?
It's my understanding a letter of counseling is our lowest form of discipline.
Let's flip to Exhibit C. Page 95, please. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's the personnel rule and reg on progressive discipline.
Do you see on page 95 under section 2 where it says corrective action non-disciplinary?
I do, yes.
Do you also see underneath that heading in the paragraph where it gives an example of counseling?
Yes.
So do you understand that a letter of counseling is not discipline?
I understand what this says, yeah, yes.
And so did you consider that when you made your recommendation for termination?
Yeah, it was considered, yes.
So if that was considered, why is it referenced in your memo recommending termination?
I felt like everything in my memo met the threshold for termination.
Nothing further.
Mr. Kuhnhart?
Yes, just a couple follow-up questions. Let's take a look at Exhibit 3. And I know you weren't present at the Loudermill hearing, and I don't want to talk about the first couple pages, but if you go to page 6 of Exhibit 3, this is the discipline form from the March 29th, 2024 discipline.
Yeah.
Did you review this when you prepared Exhibit 8?
I did, correct.
And this is a form that, do you know who came up with this form? Just like the form in general?
No, I don't know.
Okay. But it says final written warning in it. There's a check the box, correct?
Correct.
And then if you go to page 8, this is the second final written warning from January of 2025. Check the box again, correct?
Yes, correct.
And then it turns out neither of these final written warnings were actually final written warnings because his employment continued for another 6 months, correct?
Yes, correct.
If you go, so let's flip back to Exhibit C. So page 95, under section 2, you were asked some questions about formal disciplinary actions. Do you see that?
I do.
And then it says disciplinary, so section 2, formal disciplinary actions, it says disciplinary actions include reprimands, suspensions, demotions, and dismissal. Do you see that?
I do.
And then if you go to the second page, or I should say page 96, there's 1 verbal reprimand and 2 written reprimand.
Yes, I see that.
Would these final written warnings be written reprimands?
I think one could describe them that way, yes.
Okay. No further questions.
All All right, you may step down, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk to the remaining two witnesses real quick.
No
Just Try
problem.
to streamline. Thank you.
For the 2nd, January? Yeah, it's under. It's. Yeah, it's. It's exhibit 3, page 8. Yeah. Oh, I see. It's all flooded. Well, yeah, every year. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call you.
Our next witness is Jacob Betzworth.
I'll try to find it.
Mr. Bedworth, would you please state your full name?
Jacob Paul Betzworth.
And what is your position with the county?
Currently, I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And Mr. Betzworth, were you ever employed by the Sarpy County Corrections Department?
I was.
And when was that?
April 11th, 2024 until January 2025.
And what was your position?
I was the interim corrections director.
And you've been present for all the testimony today, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I want to ask you, are you familiar with Sergeant Pereira?
I am.
How so?
He was in my chain of command the entire time I was there.
And are you familiar with any of the circumstances on why he was placed on admin leave in September of 2024?
I am.
Can you, or how are you familiar with that?
Sure. So when we started an internal investigation, I kind of monitor those as they go along. And at some point, if there is enough substance that it appears that the safety and security of the facility comes before the individual, then we make the decision to put them on administrative leave because them being at work, it is more important for us to maintain the safety and security of the facility than it is for the individual to be at work.
And there's been a lot of discussion about letters of counseling, if it's discipline, final written warnings. I mean, you were acting director. Do you consider a letter of counseling discipline?
Yes, I think I can clarify this. So the policies that are in the jail now, the jail used to be run by the sheriff's office. And so many of those policies are still, the foundation of those are sheriff's office policies. People are referencing the personal policy board or personal policy regulations and saying counseling. When it's referenced in the personal policy regulations, when they say counseling, that means when I sit down with you and say, hey, don't do that again, be better next time. Under the FOP contract, which is where discipline is outlined, there are several levels of discipline. The lowest level of discipline, and the one that we start with, is called a letter of counseling. That is different than counseling. A letter of counseling is where we codify that, hey, I had to sit down with you, you violated these policies, you need to take these corrective actions, and here's your discipline for doing it.
And there's been a lot of discussion that you heard about this sick leave and how it was not, the abuse of sick leave did not happen multiple times, and therefore progressive discipline should have been implemented. Do you agree with that?
No.
Why? Or why
There's
not?
also an SOP called standards of conduct. So, I mean, no offense to anybody else's job. I own a restaurant, for example. If I screw up a chicken strip, somebody's going to be mad that the chicken strip was overdone, right? We're not making chicken strips here. We have people's lives that we are in charge of keeping them alive and keeping them safe and healthy in that jail. Standards of conduct is the policy that really talks about all things that you should do as a correctional officer within that jail to keep our standards of conduct where they're supposed to be, because we're in charge of people's lives. That includes not calling in sick when you're not supposed to, because then the shift is short. And then, we have assignments within that shift that people have to be in certain spots. And so if somebody calls in sick and that spot's left empty, somebody calls for help, gets assaulted by an inmate, there's people that are not at work that are supposed to be at work, and that can't be had. And so in my opinion, it absolutely falls under standards of conduct.
No further questions.
Ms. Feller?
No questions.
Thank you.
All right, our final witness is Director Joe Martin.
Ms. Martin, will you please state your full name?
Joe Ellen Martin.
And what is your position within the county?
I'm the Director of Corrections.
And would you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please speak up. Yes.
And Director Martin, when did you become director?
January of 2025.
And how long have you been employed by the county?
26 years.
Okay. And you've been present for all the testimony today, correct?
Correct.
And I'm going to try not to repeat any of it, okay? So if we could just look at exhibit number 3. This was, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. This was Sergeant Pinarera's notice of the Loudermill notice, correct?
Correct.
And was he solely terminated for abuse of sick leave?
No, he was terminated for the cumulative events that were detailed out in the Loudermill notice.
Okay. And then if we briefly touched on this with Sergeant Pinarera, if you could flip to Exhibit 10.
Okay.
The use of sick leave, or I should say fraudulently claiming entitlement to sick leave, is considered fraudulent behavior under this policy, correct?
Correct.
And if we look at Exhibit 6,
Okay.
If you go to page, well, there's 2 page numbers, but I'm on big number 21. Actually, let's skip over that for a second. Let's go to Exhibit 4. Is this the, are you familiar with this document?
Yes,
And is this the department's discipline policy?
correct.
I'd offer Exhibit 4.
Received?
So if you go to the bottom of the first page of Exhibit 4, it states that the lowest level of discipline is not required upon the first violation involving an employee, correct?
Correct.
And if you flip to page 2, on the top,
Yes,
it states that every effort shall be made for discipline to be progressive in nature, but that must be balanced with the need to not diminish the seriousness of the violation. Is that correct?
correct.
And then it goes on to say, when appropriate, discipline shall be progressive in nature, and suspension, demotion, or termination shall be used when other forms of discipline have failed. Do you see that?
Yes,
Now, when you prepared Exhibit 3, which was a Loudermill notice, and then you also prepared Exhibit 2, correct?
correct.
And in preparing these 2 documents, did you think that other forms of discipline, like the ones that are outlined in Exhibit 3, had failed with Sergeant Pinarera?
Yes, they did.
And then looking at Exhibit 2, is that why you decided to terminate his employment?
Yes.
No further questions.
Ms. Fowler?
Thanks. Let's go to Exhibit 5, please. Actually, 6, I apologize. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
How are you familiar with it?
It is the prior CBA collective bargaining agreement with the union, FOP.
Okay. Please flip to big number 8, page big number 8. Do you see under Section 1, Section E, where it says the county and the director have the right to discharge employees for just cause?
Which letter was that?
E.
Yes.
Okay, and then let's flip to page, sorry, I'm trying to coordinate with the new contract. Page 11.
Okay.
Do you see where under Article 6, Section 1, it says no employee shall be disciplined without the element of just cause?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and flip to page 14. And do you see under Section 1, the first sentence where it says disciplinary action by the director shall be imposed for just cause only?
Yes.
And do you see where it includes termination, F, termination?
Yes.
And do you agree that a conversation is not listed as discipline under this section of Article 7?
Correct.
And do you agree that there is no such thing as a final written warning under this section?
Under this section, yes.
And do you agree that there is no such thing under this section as a final chance?
I don't know what the final chance is.
Go with me to Exhibit 13, please. Page 7. And first, I should ask you, are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And what is it?
It is the findings report written by Lieutenant Julie Nielsen.
And this is for the March 2024 incident, right?
Yes.
Okay. On the last page, page 7, do you see where Julie's recommendation is final chance?
Correct.
So going back to Exhibit 6, do you agree that there is no such thing as final chance under the disciplinary section? Article 7, Section 1?
Correct.
Let's flip to Exhibit C, please. Page 95. And are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
What is it?
It is the rules and regulations.
And do you see under Section 1, Paragraph 2, where it says the county will use progressive discipline?
Yes.
And do you see under Section 2, the levels of formal disciplinary actions include reprimand, suspension, and demotion?
Yes.
Do you also see that reprimand includes 2 steps, verbal reprimand and written reprimand?
Yes.
And then on page 97, do you see where it includes dismissal?
Yes.
On page 96, where it talks about suspension, do you see where it says if reprimands fail to result in improved performance and or behavior, department heads may avail themselves to this 3rd step of progressive discipline?
Yes. But the contract would trump the rules and regulations.
And then also on page 96, do you see under demotion where it says demotions may be used as a last resort prior to dismissal?
Yes.
And then on page 97, do you see next to dismissal that department heads may dismiss tenured employees for cause?
Yes.
And do you also see in that same paragraph, last sentence, where it says dismissal is generally the last step of progressive discipline?
Yes.
And do you also see on page 97, the last paragraph before Section 3 in the middle where it says every attempt must be made to monitor employees' behavior and to take any necessitated disciplinary action as soon after an offense is identified as practicable?
Where was that at?
The last paragraph before Section 3, middle of the paragraph.
Yes.
Are you aware of the February 2025 letter of counseling that Mr. Pena Herrera received?
Yes.
And was it for not activating the body-worn camera soon enough? Is that correct? Are you also aware that that incident occurred September of 2024?
It did not.
When did it occur?
February 19th. I thought the date was on there, but I'd have to look to be, to double check. And I thought it occurred like 5 days after he returned to work from administrative leave. We were talking about the letter of counseling?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was September 19th.
And so discipline was not given until 5 months later?
Yes.
And that would have been after you had a conversation with Mr. Pena Herrera and the assistant director?
Yes.
And Mr. Pena Herrera received a final written warning in January of 2025, is that right?
I'll have to look at the, sorry. I said I'll have to look at the notice.
The notice would be Exhibit 3, page 8.
Okay, and what did you say?
Mr. Pena Herrera received a final written warning in January of 2025.
Yes.
And do you know when this incident that he's disciplined for in January, when the incident actually happened? Would it make sense that it's October? Under
I
number,
would have to go back and look for exact dates. I don't want to misspeak.
do you see under number 2 where it lists incidents in October?
On page 3?
Yeah, no, sorry. Page 8, yeah, we're on page 8.
Oh. Okay. And you asked what the date was, or?
The incident in which he's disciplined for in January 2025 occurred roughly in October, correct? October of 24?
Correct.
But he was given a letter of counseling in February for something that happened in September. Is that correct?
Correct.
Let's please flip to Exhibit 8. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is the findings report from Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard.
Regarding the sick leave incident?
Yes.
And let's go ahead and flip to page 6. Do you see at the bottom where Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard recommended a 24-hour suspension?
Yes.
And did you ignore this recommendation?
I wouldn't say I ignored it. I took it into consideration, along with the Assistant Director Burst's Assistant Director Burst's recommendation, his memo that he wrote.
And your recommendation was termination?
Yes.
And you ultimately terminated Mr. Pena Herrera?
Correct.
Before terminating him, did you review the transcript or were you present at the Loudermill hearing?
I was present at the Loudermill hearing.
So when you terminated him, did you consider all the mitigating factors that were presented at that Loudermill hearing?
Yes.
So you considered that Mr. Pena Herrera is a sergeant? Was a sergeant?
Yes.
And could have been demoted?
Yes.
And could have been suspended?
Yes.
And did you also consider that Mr. Pena Herrera had no prior sick leave abuse in his file?
Yes.
Did you also consider that the conversation you had with him in February was not discipline?
Yes.
And did you consider that the counseling he received was not discipline?
The counseling he received was discipline. It was a letter of counseling.
Okay, sorry. And how did you become aware of the sick leave abuse allegation?
I think it started with Assistant Director Burst saw him down in Dallas. And then Julie came into my office to tell me about, well, I was actually questioning her on why we paid out overtime on Saturday, and that was the day preceding when Assistant Director Burst saw him in Dallas.
When you are giving out discipline, would you say that it's important to treat your employees consistently?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and flip to Exhibit J, please. And I will represent to you that your counsel presented me with this document in discovery. And my understanding is that this document is county-wide, all terminations that have occurred. Are you familiar with this document?
No, I am not.
Take a chance to review it, please, and let me know once you've reviewed it.
Oh, I mean, I've looked it over. It's very small. It's hard to see.
If I told you that there is only one termination on this document for sick leave violations, do you have any reason to dispute that?
No, I do not.
Did you consider when you terminated Mr. Pena Herrera for sick leave abuse that in the entire county, there is only one other incident of terminating an employee for sick leave violations?
Mr. Pinahara was not terminated because of sick leave abuse. It was a cumulative events that occurred on why he was terminated. That is detailed out in the watermail notice.
So was Mr. Pena Herrera terminated for the incident that he received discipline for in March of 2024?
Is that part of the document on the watermail notice?
Yes.
Then yes, it was the cumulative events that occurred at that watermail in that watermail notice.
So is it fair to say that he was terminated for the 2 final written warnings he had received previously?
The totality of all the circumstances that are in that notice is why he was terminated.
But isn't it true that an employee is not to receive discipline more than once for one singular incident?
I don't understand what you're saying.
If an incident occurs and the employee is disciplined for it, isn't it true that they are not to be disciplined a second time or a third time or a fourth time for that incident?
Correct, but that's what went into the decision for termination. Because after, 14 months, I think he had several different write-ups for SOP violations that really fall under the standards of conduct.
And are you, when you say several write-ups, are you talking about the 2 final written warnings?
Yes, and those written warnings are a benefit to the employee because it is a chance for them to say, hey, you need to fix these items that are listed in those written warnings.
But sick leave was not listed on any of those documents. So he was not put on notice.
His standards of conduct was.
So on Exhibit J, did you, going back to this, did you consider that the entire county only had one incident of a termination for sick leave violation?
I was not privileged to this information.
Okay. And do you also see, I know it's small, but under the notes column, line 5, where it says PIP for attendance and sick leave violations, failed PIP went direct to termination. Do you see that?
Yes.
And what does PIP stand for?
Performance Improvement Plan.
So this employee, the one other situation where there was a termination for sick leave violations, that employee was even given a performance improvement plan before being terminated, correct?
Correct.
At this time, I'd offer Exhibit J.
Received.
Let's flip to Exhibit K, please. And I'll represent to you that this is also another document I received from council in discovery, and it's my understanding this document is just department-wide, not county-wide, and it's all examples of discipline within the department. Do you recognize this document?
No, I do not.
Will you take a minute to review it, please?
Okay, I reviewed it.
Thank you. If I told you that on this document there are 9 cases within the department of the employee receiving no discipline for sick leave violations, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
And did you consider, when terminating Mr. Pena Herrera, that the department had 9 cases of sick leave violations by employees and the employee received 0 discipline?
Every case is different, and it just depends on what is in their personnel file and, their past behavior. And you have to take all of that into consideration before a decision could be made. And I cannot speak for these 9 people on the sick leave. I don't even know who they are or what they were, what the circumstances were surrounding their sick leave violations.
If I told you that on this document there are 8 cases of counseling, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
If I told you on this document there are 4 cases of admonishment, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
If I told you there was 1 case of a performance improvement plan, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
If I told you there was 1 case of a reprimand, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
And if I told you there was 1 case of a suspension, which was 8 hours, would you have any reason to dispute that?
No.
So the highest level of discipline on this document, department-wide for sick leave violations, is a suspension of 8 hours, correct? Aside from Mr. Pena Herrera's termination.
Yes.
And a termination which Mr. Pena Herrera received is substantially higher than all of the disciplines that are listed on this document for sick leave abuse, correct?
For sick leave abuse or the
For sick leave
document
abuse.
as a whole? For sick leave, yes.
So just to clarify for the timeline, in March of 2024, Mr. Pena Herrera received a final written warning, correct?
What document are we on now?
Sorry, what was that?
What document are we on now?
I'm just speaking generally to the timeline.
Okay.
So the question was, in March of 2024, Mr. Pena Herrera received a final written warning, correct?
I'll have to reference just to make sure the dates are correct.
The document to reference would be Exhibit 3.
Yes. Okay. And what date did you give me?
March 2024, Mr. Pena Herrera received a final written warning.
On March 29th? Yes.
And that was not for sick leave, correct?
That was not for sick leave.
And then in January 2025, he received another final written warning, correct?
Yes.
And that was also not for sick leave, right?
No.
And then fast forward, and we are now talking about the May 2025 sick leave abuse allegation, correct?
Yes.
And when you were given the task of deciding how to discipline Mr. Penaherrera, you decided to terminate him, right?
Correct.
And he had never been disciplined for sick leave, correct?
This termination was not about just sick leave. It was about his standards of conduct as a supervisor and an employee.
But when you decided to terminate him, you skipped counseling, admonishment, reprimand, suspension, and demotion, correct?
Yes.
No further questions?
Director Martin, if you could go to Exhibit 3. On page 3, there were questions about why Sergeant Penaherrera was disciplined in February of 2025 for an incident that occurred in September of 2024. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
And if you look on page 3 under the February 28th, 2025 letter of counseling, it states that on February 19th of 2025, a findings report was submitted by Lieutenant in response to a line investigation, correct?
Correct.
So he was disciplined within 10-ish days of you receiving the findings report?
Yes.
Okay. Go to Exhibit C, page 97. You got a lot of questions about sick leave policies and termination for sick leave, but I think you've made it clear Sergeant Penaherrera was not terminated solely on the sick leave, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, if you go to page 97, under section D, dismissal,
Yes.
There's a paragraph that starts at department head. It states that you may consider previous disciplinary actions even if the previous discipline was for a different or unrelated offense. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that exactly what you did in this situation?
Correct.
Had you had any other employees at the Department of Corrections that in 14 months had 2 final written warnings, a meeting with you, a letter of counseling, and fraudulently using sick leave?
No.
That February 14th, 2025 meeting, what did you say at that meeting?
Basically, I said that I hope he learned from this event that occurred, or the incident that occurred, and that if he didn't, that I would see him again.
And you did not terminate his employment in that February meeting, correct?
I did not.
Okay. No further questions.
You may step down.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Fuller, would you like to make any closing remarks?
Yes, please, thank you.
And I'd like to remind you that closing remarks are limited to 5 minutes or less.
The department has not met its burden of proving Mr. Penaherrera's termination is authorized under the provisions of the personnel rules and regulations, county or department policy, or the collective bargaining agreement. Additionally, it has not met its burden of proving the director considered mitigating factors that existed related to the accused policy violation in this case. Rather, the evidence has shown that the department terminated Mr. Penaherrera without just cause, because it did not act reasonably and in good faith, it did not follow progressive discipline, and it did not act consistently with how it has disciplined other employees for the same, similar, or more egregious behavior. It is without question that the department may only terminate an employee for cause. It is also without question the department's policy on discipline states that the department shall employ progressive discipline. The evidence today has shown that Mr. Penaherrera was not dishonest during the investigation. Rather, he simply did not recall certain information at the time of the interview. It is also important to note that Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard, during that interview, failed to present Mr. Penaherrera with evidence and allow him to refresh his memory. At the conclusion of his investigation, Lieutenant Vanden Bogaard recommended a 24-hour suspension, which ultimately got ignored when the director fired Mr. Pena Herrera. Mr. Pena Herrera has never had prior discipline for sick leave abuse. All his prior discipline was minor, which was two final written warnings, and they involved entirely different alleged policy violations and behavior, which he corrected after receiving discipline. In other words, he was receptive to correction and the behavior did not recur. Other employees with substantiated sick leave abuse have been given substantially lower discipline than Mr. Pena Herrera. There's only one case of another employee in the entire county that was terminated for sick leave violations, and the employee was even given a performance improvement plan before being terminated. The employee ultimately was fired for not complying with the performance improvement plan. Within the department, there are 9 cases of no discipline for sick leave violations, 8 cases of counseling, 4 cases of admonishment, 1 case of a performance improvement plan, 1 case of a reprimand, 1 case of a suspension of 8 hours, and then Mr. Pena Herrera's termination. The key here is the department skipped 5 levels of discipline to land at termination for Mr. Pena Herrera. The termination, in its termination of Mr. Pena Herrera, the department inappropriately considered a conversation between the director, assistant director, and Mr. Pena Herrera, and a letter of counseling, which by their own policy is not discipline. In the termination, the department ignored mitigating evidence such as Mr. Pena Herrera's tenure of good service and the fact that he was a sergeant. According to the termination letter, the department terminated Mr. Pena Herrera for numerous and ongoing policy violations, but did not specify what, if any, alleged violations are ongoing. Mr. Pena Herrera's termination appears to come from a conflict between him and Director Joe Martin, not good faith. The termination is not reasonably related to the seriousness of any proven offenses or Mr. Pena Herrera's position or record of service. He remains capable of correction, responding to discipline, and offering valuable service to the department. In conclusion, Mr. Pena Herrera's termination is not supported by the personnel rules and regulations, county or department policy, or the collective bargaining agreement. The department has failed to consider mitigating factors. For these reasons, we ask that you vacate Mr. Pena Herrera's termination and award him back pay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kuhnhart, would you like to do a closing?
Yes, briefly.
And again, I know, limit it to
I'll
just
be
5
quick.
minutes or less. Appreciate it.
All right. Director Martin summed this up perfectly. This termination was not about sick leave abuse. It was about multiple violations of policies and procedures. Mr. Pena Herrera tries to say that the department did not consider mitigating factors such that he's a sergeant. He's a sergeant. More is expected out of leadership. More was expected out of him because of a sergeant. Mr. Pena Herrera also tries to say that he was receptive to discipline. That's simply not true. If you look at the Loudermill notice, Director Martin testified that she had no other employees that received a final written warning, a meeting to tell him to shape up and get it together, a letter of counseling, and then discipline for fraudulently using sick leave. It's clear that Mr. Pena Herrera was not receptive to this discipline. When we looked at page 97 of Exhibit C, we could see that Director Martin was allowed to look at this all the collective violations that Mr. Pena Herrera had committed. She was not required to follow progressive discipline, as we saw in Exhibit 4, and therefore she had cause to terminate Sergeant Pena Herrera's employment, and we would ask you to uphold the termination. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the Personnel Committee will want to make a motion.
Yeah. I'd like to call for a motion to go into executive session.
I'll motion to go into executive session.
I'm sorry. Second. Say that again.
There was a motion to go into executive session
And a second.
and seconded over here.
So the motion was by Gifford? Oh, sorry.
Motion by Gifford and second by Bruce to go into executive session.
Melissa, I don't think your voting is working.
My whole screen doesn't work.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. For yay, 1 absent, motion carries.
with each picture. But it looks
All right. Do we have a motion?
I guess, are you? Okay,
I
we're
gave him
okay.
thumbs up. I did it, Carrie.
We're good.
Do we have a motion to reconvene the meeting?
I'll make the motion to reconvene.
Okay, motion by Gifford, second by Bruce to approve that the Personnel Policy Board reconvene.
One moment, Madam Chair.
Quick question. I am pretty sure that I used Exhibit K at the very end with Director Martin and did not offer it. And I talked to Ryan, and I don't think he has any objection to me offering it right now to clean that up.
One moment.
And if I did, please correct me.
You did not.
Okay.
I'll vote for you.
Duly noted. It's received right now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I apologize.
No worries. Thank you.
Melissa, are you yay or?
I'll have to yay or nay
I'll
or
fill you in
whatever.
then.
Okay. All right, we're ready to move to item 14. Do we have a motion to vote on the individual decisions regarding?
Just 1 minute, I need 4, did you vote?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't. I vote for it to reconvene.
4 yay, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you. I apologize for our technological issues today. My voting is not showing up on my screen, so sorry about that. We will reconvene then with item 14. Do we have a motion to vote on the individual decisions regarding this disciplinary hearing?
I move to affirm the action of the Director of Sarpy County Corrections in the termination of Mr. Pena Herrera.
And I'll second that.
All right, motion by Davidson, second by Gifford to affirm the decision of the Director of, what's her last name again?
Corrections.
Corrections, thank you. And please vote.
Okay.
Mine popped up. So.
I have Jonathan, I have Don, I have Diane. Are you A or nay? A.
Yeah.
4 yay, 1 absent, motion carries.
Anything to say or in the meeting? All right, do we have a motion to close the grievance hearing?
I'll motion to close.
Second.
Motion by Gifford, second by Bruce to close the grievance hearing at this time. And then item 16 then is adjournment. Do we have a
Can I give it a vote on
geez.
that?
It's because it's not popping up.
4 yay, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you.
And then now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Davidson, second by Bruce. We can vote. I'm an A.
4 yay, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 6:06 PM. Thank you.